Our final touring car race of the day here at Silverstone International, and we've seen a win for Vauxhall and a win for Renault in the first and second races. This is the final race of the day, and on random grid pole position we have Dubs with Chris with Lee alongside in his Mercedes, and let's see how the boys got on. And it was a pretty good start from Lee, who manages to get into the lead. Dave's trying around the outside. He's come from a long way back and almost gets into the top three into turn one, but runs a bit wide. A little bit of rubbing from Dubs, nothing too risque there, but Dubs gets back the lead, but immediately goes quite wide, and Lee back into first place. Dubs into second, Graham into third. Dave's at the fourth place in the BMW after a bit of a rocket ship start. Almost goes into Graham. Backs out a bit. I think there might have been a bit of light contact, difficult to say. And as we head along the straight for the first time, all 10 cars that we've got today are as one, and there is just nowhere to pick for where the battle's going to be hottest. But midfield looks really, really hot as we see Sam and Dom going side by side. At the end of the hangar straight, you can see Jake as well joining in his BMW just a little bit further back, and Graham's up to second place in this race already. Dave having to defend a little bit from two feisty Renaults just behind. Dom's up the inside of Sam, but Sam's going to try and shut the door anyway. It's a bit robust. Perhaps didn't realise Dom was there, but Dom definitely was there. And as we head into turn one again, Dave just breaks away a little bit. Sam makes a big mistake, big sideways moment. Jake's involved, Jake's off as well. Loads and loads of the cars are off. Mark's off, and Sam's off, and Tom's off, and that's gonna ruin quite a few people's races in one go. And that was all really kicked off by Sam going in really hot into turn one. But there we are. Andy is up to fifth place in his Vauxhall, so a decent start for Andy so far. Not had too many high-end results so far this season, so see what we can manage here. This is perhaps not the best track for the Vauxhalls, but it's not too bad. And a little bit further up we've got Dave and Chris fighting over that final podium spot. Here comes the BMW as he got the inside. Dubs gives him loads and loads of room, and Dave slots into third place ahead of Dubs. Graham and Lee are close on track, but not actually close enough just yet. Graham is closing though. Had a really good first lap to Graham. Fifth place we've got Andy ahead of Dom, but we've seen how rapid Dom is. He won the second race here earlier today, and he's trying for that fifth place. He's gone round the outside just out of camera shot and then back in, gets up the inside. Superb move from Dom. And it is a good car that, but Dom is driving it with quite a plonk, but Andy runs into him. I think there's going to be more space given there, and Dom ends up getting spun off the track. Jake comes through and says thanks very much, comes into fifth place, and now Mark is going into Andy, and the Astras are fighting. Tom's going to try and split the two Astras as they come down the straight. There's more straight line speed in that Renault, and Tom is straight through. He says thank you very much. He's up to sixth place. But Jake is in a fantastic fifth place in his BMW at the moment, really gelling well with that car. And in the background the Vauxhall's still dicing hard. Andy and Mark side by side. God, it's furious stuff this. And Andy not giving Mark a lot of space on track there. Let's see what happens into turn one, because it's going to be very, very tight and deep between these boys. Keep it clean. Mark thinks better of it. Goes in much slower to get a good exit. Andy bounces over the curve. More sideways moments in the Astra. And Jake has been done by Tom, just up ahead actually. Tom having a really decent meeting here today. One of his better showings of the season so far. He's had a fourth and a fourth already. And up front, Graham and Lee are still pretty close. Not perhaps too much worth watching right now. But it's about half a second between them. Dave is unable to stick with them at this stage in the BMW. He's got quite a big gap to try and close down. And then Dubs is in a pretty lonely fourth, so the battle is definitely on between Tom and Jake. Jake deep on the brakes, but gets a nice line actually through the corner. The BMW is quite good in these slow bits. He's trying to get a bit of traction across the start-finish line, but I think Tom holds onto it this time. And the two Astras still hammer and tongs behind. Mark's still behind Andy at the moment. And here comes Jake. It's a possible opportunity. He's really close. Goes one side, goes the other. Stays out of trouble. Nicely done, Jake. Couldn't quite get past Tom there, and we saw how much Dave tried to get past Tom in the first race of the day, and just could not do it on track. And Jake again there had another look to the inside and thought better of it. This time though, he may have an opportunity. It's got a good engine in that BMW, and it's good shape. As we hit the end of the hangar straight, Jake takes the position. He's back up to 5th place. Tom drops to 6th, and Andy and Mark are side by side once more. There's more contact between them. Again, nothing too furious, but there is a bit of contact between them. And now heading into the final complex, into the left-hander, who's got it this time. Mark tries to go all the way around the outside, can't quite do it, and he might end up getting mugged by Sam next, who's now up the inside in the Renault. And I don't think Mark saw Sam there, because Sam was there this time, whereas Sam didn't spot someone earlier. This time it was Sam not getting spotted. And Dom is a long way back in this, as you saw in the background, the blue and yellow car. But bouncing through turn 1, and there's more fighting because Tom's back ahead of Tom's back ahead of Jake, and Jake is trying to take the position back once more. As we look to go to the hangar straight, Jake back up the inside of the BMW, a nice move, don't go too deep, Jake. Does go a bit deep, may end up with track limits infringement. Mark as well in the background going quite wide. It's a really good tussle this, all the way from 5th back to 9th place. Look, all 5 of these cars so close. There's bound to be an accident. Andy's up the inside of Tom, there's a bit of contact, there's contact further behind. Jake gets a little bit of a shove as well. And now Mark capitalises, manages to get alongside Sam. This is some good racing actually, really good racing in the midfield. Everybody's quick, and that's the tricky thing, when everybody's quick. And 2-3 of them go off. Sam and Andy have gone off together. Jake stays on track in 6th, but loses the back end. Mark takes 6th, Jake drops back to 7th, and might lose one to Sam as well. In the background, Andy with damage on the front of the Astra. Physical damage actually turned off, this is just visual damage, but broken headlight on the Vauxhall Astra there, and he drops to the back. Up front, the battle is hotting up towards the end of the race, but I'm not sure that it's going to hot up enough that any positions are going to swap. We have nearly a second still between Lee and Graham, and Lee is doing a superb job in a car that is not as good as that Renault. In fact, it's probably not as good as the BMW either, and the BMW has closed a bit, and Graham has closed a bit on Lee since the very start, but hasn't really made the rapid inroads that perhaps you'd expect with the Renault. The Mercedes definitely going quite well around this circuit, and now they're close, just 3 tenths between them will go on board with Graham as we head onto the penultimate lap. And what can he do about that pesky Mercedes? Looked compliant through there from Lee, nicely on the apexes, and Dave is within 2 seconds, but that is about it. Nothing closer so far. Final right-hander before going on to the hangar straight, the long hangar straight. Who's got the guts on the straight? Big kick out from the BMW behind, but is this Lee's opportunity, Graham's opportunity to get a move on Lee? No siree, not this time. 2 tenths between them, 1 tenth between them. It's as close as it's been all race long. But still the Mercedes driver holds on from Graham's Renault. We are about to head on to the last lap, so we'll do a quick roll call. Lee from Graham, from Dave from Dubs. There's Dubs in the blue and white Renault. Tom is in 5th. Jake is just getting back up into 6th place, back down to 7th. There's a good tussle between Jake and Sam at this stage. Mark is in 8th place, unable to make any progress. Race winner from race 1 earlier today, but that's hard graft getting through the field. Dom is in 9th, and Andy is drop dead last at the moment in his damaged Astra. But back to the front, this is the final lap. It doesn't look close enough. Graham's not as close to the back of that Mercedes as he had been on previous occasions, and I think Lee is going to hold on to another Mercedes win. This will mark Lee's. In fact, Lee has a track limits infringement, so Graham is actually going to win this if he just holds it together. As they come up to the line for the final time, it is Lee who wins on track, but the man who wins in reality is the man in green. It is Graham's Renault who takes another victory of the season. I think it's about his 4th victory of the season ahead of Lee. Dave will finish 3rd despite Lee's track limits penalty. Dubs is going to come up to the line in 4th place, which is his one of his best of the season actually, apart from his victory at Alton Park. Then we've got Tom in 5th, so 4th, 4th, 5th, Sam 6th, Jake 7th, just as we cross the line ahead of Mark, Dom and Andy.